going on, guys? Paul here again. Today I want to talk about why I think this deck right here that you see, Dino Rabbits, is one of the better decks of the new format. So I'm going to give you a little deck list, and I'm going to explain to you why I believe it's a good deck for the new format. So first off, you get the 3 Sabersaurs, 3 Kabazals, those are 6 normals. Gotta run them. Next up, we run 3 Guaba, very good card this format. And 2 Rescue Rabbit. Put those here. 2 Tour Guide. No Tour Guide targets, just itself. Without Sangan, you don't really want to worry too much about level 3s. And then 2 Card Cardies. So that's it for the monsters. Only 15. I'll get to reasonings later, I suppose. For spells, you got, I think I ran 11. Yeah, 11 spells. So I got 3 Lance, 3 MST, 2 Duality. This helps with the low monster count, and also, the turns you get these 2, it's really good, obviously. And then the 3 Staples. No Avarice, because this is a macro build. Even if it wasn't a macro build, I wouldn't run Avarice. Just not a fan of the card in decks like this. Definitely wouldn't run Avarice in a water deck, though, because that deck just throws its hand into the graveyard real quick. So for traps, you got 3 Deep Prison, 2 Chains, not the wrapper, 2 Torrential, 2 Bottomless, 2 Macro. Another extremely good card this format. Aside from Mirror, it's going to be almost, it hits everything this format really, except Mirror Match, like I said. And then you got Road, Mirror Force, Solemn, and Solemn. What I like about this deck is it can run a lot of traps, and it can run a lot of ways to protect them. As you can see, I run 15 traps. If you consider the Lance's traps, that's like 18. Macro is a very relevant card this format. At almost any point in the game, you can flip a Macro against a water deck, and their only, real play is a Diva, or maybe if they have MST, they'll MST it. If you can back that Macro up with a Lagia, or if you can just back it up with some form of protection, whether it's Road, which doesn't really stop MST, or Solemn Judgment, or Lagia, it can really be a problem. Against Fire, Macro is also a very good card too. They can't use Bear or any of the other Fire Fists to send the spells to the graveyard, so that's really good because it just makes their monsters just big attackers really. And you can compete with big attackers for the most part, but you can just summon these 1900s and 1700s and poke with them, back them up with traps. It's just good. Everything in the deck is good. I run the low monster count because you can do that with the card cardies and the dualities. I'm not running a lot of level 3s, no Reapers, no Snowmans, no extra Tour Guide targets, because I don't really want to orient the deck around special summoning as much as the older build was. I want to keep it on a kind of anti-meta based deck, where you're gonna spam the field with a rabbit and a whole bunch of traps, or you're gonna summon a Sabersaurus or a Kabazals with some traps. Even better if you have the Guaiba, obviously, because that's pretty much the 3rd, 4th, and 5th rabbit if they have a monster you can kill with it. Tour Guide does its job. Card Cardi does its job. Everything in the deck does its job. I don't mind having any one of these monsters in my hand as long as I have a whole bunch of traps to back it up. Like I said, I just love traps this format. I did test Water the first week of the format. Was not a fan. Just it didn't do what I wanted it to do. I was kind of disappointed with the deck. I'm more of a fan of decks with heavy trap counts like this. So let's get into single cards. You got 3 Sabersaurus, 3 Kabazals, 3 Guaiba. Guaiba is really good. I usually side it out against Mirror Match and Fire Fist because it just doesn't do too much against Fire Fist. But I mean, I know that seems like a lot of the matchups, but against Inzectors, against Windups, which is still a pretty relevant deck for the most part. Just a whole bunch of decks, Guaiba's going to put in a lot of work, and it's good against Water, etc. Rabbit's Rabbit, Tour Guide's Tour Guide, and Card Cardi, some people are, iffy on, but really like it. 3 Lance, extremely good against Fire, terrible against Water, extremely good against Mirror Match, overall, really good card. It's just exactly what this deck needs, and I really like it. It works great in conjunction with Logia and stuff. But yeah, got 3 MSTs. Obviously, MST is one of my favorite cards of the format. Just it wrecks every deck. 2 dualities. A lot of people don't really like this in the deck either because it doesn't let you do Tour Guide plays, Rescue Rabbit plays, Exceed plays, but it does set you up. It gets you the traps you need, the monsters you need when you need them. It also does complement the low monster count. I opted to only run 15 because I wanted to, increase the trap count to a higher number because I think they're just too important. So, Power Duality can just get you to what you need when you need it. I don't care if I can't do a rabbit play or a tour guide play because I'm not relying on that. If I feel like if you're relying on those plays in the deck, then you're hoping for something that's just not going to happen consistently. You're going to be getting the normal monsters and you're going to try to exceed with those most of the time, and that's what I do. Even with I hear people all the time say, "Oh man, I opened all normals." It doesn't matter if you open all normals, as long as you open a good amount of trap cards, you're gonna win games. So Power Duality can help with any situation except later in the game when you want to make rabbit plays. You get the Reborn, Heavy, Darkhold. Don't have to explain those. I went into detail why I wanted to run 4 of these. I want a whole bunch of removal. I didn't want to run 5 because I would if I had room, but there were just other cards I'd rather have. I think Deep Prison's better than Mirror Force at the moment because it just against Fire Fist you really don't want to walk into their Starlight Roads. Against Water, removing their Lind isn't bad, and Mirror Force and Deep Prison do the same thing because if they attack their Lind into your monster, they'll get Megalo and you can just Mirror Force it then. I know Mirror Force doesn't do anything to Lind, but yeah. So overall, I just think Deep Prison's better. I do run 2 Fiendish Chain. I've been thinking about upping it to 3, but yeah, it's just not my style, I don't think. I think 2 is the perfect number for now. If I were to add another trap, it would definitely be the second Mirror Force, because that's one of Battle Stoppers are pretty good right now. I think Mirror Force is really good against Water, and so isn't Deep Prison. Next up is 2 Torrentials. Don't really have to explain those. These, I love Torrential, don't get me wrong, but Starlight Road has just become a pretty relevant card from what I've seen in the new meta, so it's kind of annoying that when you walk into it, I guess. Bottomless, I'm not really a fan of it versus Water, but it's really good against almost every other matchup. Macro, like I said, it's good against every matchup. Road, just to protect my traps and my monsters. Mirror Force, I explained that. I would run more of these if I could, trust me, but I can't. So that was the deck. I really think Dino Rabbit is a relevant deck this format. I see some people saying the banning of Sangin really demolish the deck, but it's really not the case. I really like it. I have regionals next week, and I'm going to be taking this to it. Probably going to edit a little, but yeah. Deck's overall has just been working wonders, so I guess I'll go over my extra inside real quick. Won't really explain anything there. So, I guess I'll explain that. That Desmond, whatever, I don't know his last name, but he ran this crazy Karakuri deck at Miami, and he topped, and I'm sure some people in that deck him. I really don't want to lose to that deck. It's especially a terrible matchup because everything has too much attack points. So I have to side Cyber Dragons. I'm not going to lose to that deck. It just won't be fair. I will not allow it. So that's a side deck. I think this is pretty relevant because Dolka can't negate everything in Water. It can't negate the first chain links and stuff. So it can be relevant, so I run it. And, Kawazalis can make it 22. Here's a side deck. This is pretty much my local fun side deck, but I really wouldn't change too much if I were to go to regional, so. Like I said, this is for the machine decks. This demolishes Water. They can't beat this card ever, it's just too good. And obviously Snowman, don't have to explain that. 1 Soul Taker, I was siding 2, but every time I sided 2 when I drew them together and it annoyed me. The other Mirror Force, I sided in against Water. I sided in against a lot of decks. Decks I need more removal against. I sided in against Water because it complements the Banisher. Double Dust. It's just good against everything. 2 Retorts, this is fun. This is a fun card, but it actually has been testing alright. The idea behind it is, I'm decided in against decks that run a lot of the same spells and traps as I run. So I'm going to be looking if my opponent runs 2 or more lances. Even if I see that, then I'm pretty sure they're going to have close or similar spell and trap lineup to me, so I'll probably side it in. I can't wait for the day that I retort a retort to get a retort back to my hand and negate the retort. That'd be insane. And then finally, 2 breakthrough skills. This is the nuts in the rabbit mirror match. You can negate rabbits. It can't remove. I mean, it can remove itself, but it won't special summon. And then on your turn, you can banish this from your graveyard and negate their Lagias, their Dolkas, the cards that stop you. So I might even cut that Soul Taker for a breakthrough. Probably not. I like the one Soul Taker. But yeah, overall, this deck has been testing insanely well for me. Maybe it's just beginner's luck because I've never really played this deck too much. But I don't know. From what I've seen, really like the deck. Suggest you guys try it. It's a very cheap deck if you don't want to follow it out like I did. But okay, say you want to build a deck. Almost all of these cards were reprinted in tins. The only expensive card really is like the Forbidden Lances. The common ones are like 10 plus right now. I think they're like 15. It's insane, but you can get the deck real cheap. So why don't you guys give it a shot, even if you have to try it on Dueling Network, and let me know how that goes in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for more ARG videos.